Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to KSWV Radio, 99.9 FM and 810 AM. This morning, we're visiting with Letitia Montoya, candidate for mayor of Santa Fe. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Stellan, for letting me be on today.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and you have a special guest in the studio that came with you. You want to give any shout-outs today?
I'd like to give a shout-out to my husband, who's sitting right next to me, and I'd like to give a shout-out to my family as well, and everybody out there.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. You know, we like visiting with candidates to find out what their visions are for our city, what they want to do. I believe you're one of the first candidates to have made the announcement, so you've been thinking about this for quite a while. Before we get into kind of the issues there at the city, why don't you share a little bit about yourself? Let's take a step back. There might be some people that may not know who you are and what you do, and share a little bit about Letitia Montoya, and then we'll ask you why you're running for mayor.
Okay, so I'd like to just let you know I am Letitia Montoya. My family roots go back 17 generations, but actually 20. They documented them, and we go back to Calda, that area. That's where the first capital was at, and so then they migrated to Santa Fe. So that's where we took roots here. And other portions of my family, like we were miners, so wherever there was a mine, that's where my family was. Like up in Jemez, the mountains of Madrid, and up in Pecos. But the thing with me is that the reason I am running for mayor, and I want to go back to a little story about myself and Michael. Within the last 10 years, we had retired very well. And we didn't know that something was going to happen down the road, because no one knows that tragedy can happen, death, whatever, sickness. And Michael got really sick on us. And the thing is, he was exposed to a chemical that from the military. And at that point, we had to think about death or life. And so we had to tap into all our resources that we had. He had a rare disease called calciphylaxis, which is 99.9% death. And so at that point, we actually lost everything. We lost everything because everything had to go into medical bills. But the thing that happened to me is it made me stronger to understand that, family is so important. And that's what I always say, family and God. Because God led me onto this journey right now. And from that, I learned, I'll tell everybody, I've been sober and clean for 5 years. And that was the best blessing that God could have done to me, is because I see things in a different light. I understand, and by losing things in your life, like financial stuff is nothing compared to keeping your husband alive. And so at that time, we had decided that let's do, what can we do to rebound back, since we had nothing anymore. And I tell everybody, you could be homeless, you could be living outside. One little thing can cause your whole life to just spin out of control, and you lose everything. But we regained it back we did contracts. So what I did during COVID is I got certified, our company, to do government contracts. So we worked through the whole COVID, and then what happened is that as COVID people are coming out, I started seeing shopping carts. And I was like, man, that would be so cool. I said, if the city would come up with a program for shopping carts. And so lo and behold, they did. So we bid on it and we got it. And that's back.
Is the program to return carts, or what is it?
Yes. And what happens is they're reported, they're documented, and then we get work orders to go retrieve them. And as we're retrieving them, if we see a cart that's in the same location, we'll pick it up. But the thing is that 4 years ago, I started this journey. And the journey with the shopping carts led me to why I'm running for mayor. All that I've seen in the last 4 years, from the homeless population to the drug addictions to the housing situation, to the water, to the air, to the solid waste. And I started learning about it. And that is why I'm running for mayor, because, it's about my boots were on the ground. I'm a working horse. I'm no show horse. I'm a working horse, because that's what we need. We need somebody that's going to pull up their sleeves and really work and go to work. And that's the biggest problem I'm seeing right now in our city, is that employees don't want to come back to work. They want to do online, working, which right now is showing because it's not. Look at the permits and all. So, like I'm saying, is like I learned all this. So that's the best point of like understanding the issues that are right in front of us. And before, I didn't even know these issues existed. I drive in my car down Cerritos Road. I didn't pay attention. But when I had to work, and I give credit to anybody that works outside, because you see me in the shopping carts. It doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, wind, heat, hot. I'm there. But you know what? It made me humble. It made me understand that my purpose is to be here and to help people with all the problems that are going on with our city.
We're visiting with Letitia Montoya. You probably see firsthand when you go to pick up the shopping carts, maybe people that are unhoused. Maybe you might run into some people that have drug addictions. How does the city go about solving the problems of people that are unhoused, and then those that have addictions? What is your vision to help with those areas?
Okay, so a lot of people ask me about the people that live outside, and I tell everybody they're local people. They're our kids. I'm watching kids OD left and right out there that I've known their families that live up on the south side, where that's where we all grew up. The east side. Sorry about that. And the thing is that homelessness is being caused by an issue, drugs. It's easier to get the poison, I call it, outside from the drug dealers. And the drug dealers right now are not afraid to go into areas where they're giving selling them the drugs or supplying the other drug dealer so that they could sell it within the homeless community. So that is causing a ripple effect to where we have crime. In order for these people to supply their need, they have to steal. And so my goal is that okay, let's go back to Michael, because back in about 8 years ago, we had decided to develop a plan for homeless veterans or veterans in need with PTS and all that. So we wrote up an actual plan to build facilities, smaller facilities that would house these veterans. So that plan can go into housing and meeting the needs of what the addiction is. So if it's drugs, then we have smaller facilities that oversee those issues. And people are like the homeless people are, how are you going to get us in there? And I was like, well, because I'll get you when you're coming out of jail, you'll go into the program, or I'll get you if you OD. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of ODs that, because now they're mixing these, they're called blue and pink pills with fentanyl. So they're ODing, so we grab them. And then two, people are just wanting to get off the street. So you have categories of people that different needs and different wants, and you make them smaller because it's easier to take care of a smaller group. But then but on top of that, I talked to the community college, and they told me, we have the land, we have the programs that we can help you with. So I've talked to them. So when I'm going to put them their word, if they tell me they're going to do that, then I'm going to say, okay, let's come up with a plan, because you have the land, you have the resources. Let's come up with smaller facilities, and we could put them throughout Santa Fe that they're not going to be noticeable, because we're taking care of the problem. That's the key component.
Are these facilities that you're talking about, would they be treatment facilities?
Yes, and they'd be treatment facilities where they would go in there, and they'd be long-term stays. So like a lot of these treatment centers that you have, it's only, 3 months? Somebody's not cured in 3 months. It takes several years. So if they decide that they want to go on to another level, which the next level would be getting them trained, and if they want to go to college, but also putting them in another setting where they're still inside with a group of people, because their biggest issue is like they don't want to be alone. Because if they're alone, they'll go back to what they did in the past. And it's just reprogramming them to understand, we need you. We don't want you outside. We need you to be, a good citizen. And they're crying for help. They really are. And then like with the shelter, and then two, each block has a tribe. I call them a tribe. So each area of Santa Fe has a group of people that live together because they're safer together. And then now I'll come up with the shelter, Pete's Shelter. So doing government contracts, I understand a lot about the contracting, and and you have to follow the rules. That's just it. And so if you don't follow the rules, then it could be a possibility that you lose your contract or the contract comes up for bid. And a lot of times what happens is that it could be that they didn't meet the requirements that the city wanted. And a lot of times the biggest problem that I saw with Pete's is that the drugs were inside the outside area, in the gate area, and then there was a lot of ODing and the security. And so I don't know if they lost the contract or it was sent out to bid. And when everybody went to that meeting, it was already predetermined because they've already picked the contract that they were gonna choose, and that night they all had to approve it. So it was just it didn't make a difference what people said that night. So, but let's see what this company does, because I did the research on them and they have some pending allegations there in San Francisco. So that, I think a lot of times we need to research our companies that we're bidding on. And then those pallet houses, I did research on them, and if they're not run completely the way what I saw from my research, it's going to be it's not going to work.
I want to ask you about the micro housing, because we've seen these micro communities, the pilot projects. Is, from what you've seen, is that something that you would want to continue in with your administration?
No, because feasibly they're expensive when we can allocate that money into a facility, because you're putting them in a room by themselves. So you don't know what they're doing in there. If you put them in a facility that it's a smaller engagement, that you keep track of them and you know what they're doing. And they even tell me, why you're going to put me in a room and it's going to, I point blank don't think it's going to work, but I'm hoping that it does. And I think that company that got the contract for Pete's, I think they're going to be the individuals running that program.
The issues with protecting families' single largest investment, which is their home. Homeowners have some concerns about what some of these micro communities or some of these shelters might have on the effect of their investment. How do you balance the needs of people while trying to take care of our unhoused problem or our addiction problems?
Well, you know what, too? We need public housing. Not affordable. We do need affordable, but public housing for, and it was brought to my attention by a homeless person. They're like, Letitia, seriously, do you think we can really go into affordable housing? We need public housing. And I was like, and I looked and I was like, wow, I was like, you are right. And the thing is that would be the final step, is once we got them to the point that the unhoused people are already in a program, they're making their way, and then that would be the next option to put them into public housing. But what's happening right now is that public housing is, I hate to say, is a joke, because what I'm seeing walking out there is like, you have seniors that are living in, they remember, okay, Alta Vista used to be senior living centers, Luisa, Camino Consuelo, but now they're mixed with the seniors and Section 8 housing. And those are two different entities. So I think what we need to do is if we're going to do that, we need to make sure that it's a good fit, because I'll tell you right now, drug dealers live in the public housing right now too. And they're doing they're spreading their poison in there, and people are telling me people are expressing everything. Like, they just remodeled the housing over there in Louisa. Somebody has mice in their ceiling and they can't get rid of them. Another lady at the other shelter has mold in her house. So, we need to make sure that we have to keep up on even our public housing, because that's a disgrace, because, these people that live there, they deserve to live well, because they're there because of a reason, and it's because they can't affordable housing. And the bad joke about affordable housing is that we're allowed to let the big developers pay a fee of $150,000, and then they don't have to build their 15% from private land. They have to by our statutes, they have to build 15% of affordable housing, but they're not having to do that anymore because they pay a fee. I'm going to get rid of that because we're going to say if you want to build, you're going to have to build them. And in our city land, no, our city lands, we need, if we're going to build on city land, we need to build affordable housing. And I already did research on how to bring that into place. Like, I'll tell you right now, Midtime Campus is a prime example. They want that land so bad because they know it's valuable. And I went to last August, I went to a meeting and I was all excited and I saw these people and and I was talking about affordable housing. They looked at me like I was a joke. I sat there and I had recorded it because I wanted to re-listen to it. The land in Midtown Campus is not for us. It's for, they said that anybody that lives there is going to have 6 figures. And they said the people that they wanted to live on Midtown Campus because they're going to revamp the library there on Midtown Campus, putting in $22 million to make that the main library. And they want a plaza and they want 5-story apartment complexes and it's like a pie in the sky that you see like in one of those movies that it's beautiful. But you know what? Come on, let's come back to reality. Let's do it for the people that live here in our city. And then the 288 acres on Tana Road, they want to develop that. I talked to Suki and I asked him, I was like, can you help me, stop that project? Because it's not going to be affordable for anybody. And they're like, oh, they're bringing that up again because they have a statute. The Tsuki, they need the water. And Tsuki said, we don't have no water. And that's a key component. We have no water.
If there is a way to use city-owned land to try to bring about affordable housing, to drop the price of what it would take to put someone into a house, would you want to look into that?
Yes, 100%. You know what? I think that the developers and the realtors and a lot of people don't realize that we want to live here. And $750,000. If I'm a bus driver, and I'll tell you, give you an example, a bus driver that drives our buses every day, he's homeless because he cannot afford an apartment. I have people that work for the city down at the yard. They have to downsize because the housing is getting too expensive. I want people to own. I don't want people to rent. And that's where we're going to. If you look at nationally, these large corporations are coming in and they're starting to buy properties and they see, okay, Santa Fe is valuable. So they've been picking up properties. I'll tell you, a lot of these houses that they tell me up on the hill, a lot of them are vacant because they've been bought by these companies. And if you have everything, if you buy everything and there's nothing to buy, of course it's going to go up. Because we have no rent control either. What is wrong with us? Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you on that subject, I want to ask you about crime because you're talking about
yes.
But you just brought up rent control. Are you in favor of controlling rent, or what is? Well,
what we need to do is we need to make sure that we can't. Okay, so the rent right now, some of these new apartment complexes that just automatically popped up, they're going for $3,000, and the thing is, we have city employees that are making $65,000 a year. That's saying high end, but the thing is that so they can't afford those. So we need to, and I'm looking at like with the apartment complexes is that they're owned by corporations. So we can bring the rent down on that, because I'll tell you right now with Section 8 housing, that's the biggest problem, because we can't not find housing for Section 8 because they only get a certain amount on that Section 8, and so that's why we have a lot of people outside, is because they cannot get inside, and it's about us. We're causing the problem. So I think we need to revamp everything. And then on top of that, with a building, what about the water plant? That thing's been since what? The 50s. And the thing about it, I did the research on it. It's going to cost $600 million. It's going to take us at least 10 years to raise that. But on top of that, there was a rainy fund because I have counselors that are helping me. I'm not going to name names but the thing is that they had started a program for a rainy day fund, but mayors have tapped into them like to pay payroll. So the thing is, like, we got to really think about that, because the guy that was the director and he got fired, he falsified records for the E. coli and different like germs, and to say that they could release the water, to find out it was falsified. We got penalized $2.3 million because of that guy. And then what happened is when they got rid of him, I talked to IT, they put a system in there, now they can read it. But the thing about it is that we need to really think about, if we're building so much, where's all that ucky stuff going to go to?
On the issue of public safety, you brought up drug dealers, doing drugs out in the open, dealing drugs out in the open. People are concerned about crime in our community. How are you going to make Santa Fe a safer place to live?
I'm going to get those police officers to walk the beat. We're going to go back in the day when I was a kid, they were always at the fields. They were at the football fields, the basketball. They were always around us because they lived here. So we knew them. And the thing, too, is we need substations. And we need substations throughout Santa Fe. And the thing is, we need to say, okay, with the police department, this is your region. This is what you're going to mandate. But if something severely comes up, that's when you'll go to the other side of town. But, because they're all over the place. They're and it's not their fault. They don't have good leadership. And that's the problem, is the leadership is not there. And so if we start thinking about substations, penalties on dealers, you know what? We slap them on the hand and say, okay, goodbye. You know what? We need to be firm, because we're just a joke. They already know. We go in, we come out. We go in, we come out of jail. So it's just like a revolving door. We need to stop that process, and we need to hold them accountable for what they're doing to the people. And check this out. Read that. That's a list of people that died last year. And I have that on my purse because it makes me...
It's a Santa Fe Homeless Persons Memorial Vigil, December 20th, 2024, is what you... And in the back of the card is a list of names of people that passed away
from here, out in the field. And the oldest one here is like 83 years old, and they're all surnames, and so we have a problem on our hand, and we need someone that's going to know it and fix it, because I guess I could ramble on, but it's easy to fix, but we need somebody with boots on the ground, and we need a workhorse.
What does the city police department need to put more boots on the ground, or what would your administration do to achieve what you're proposing?
Okay, so what's going to have to happen is that we're going to have to go in there and really do an intensive not audit. Well, everybody's like, don't use audit, but an audit, and then you go in there. But the thing that I'm seeing is that I've talked to some police officers, and the things that I'm hearing is that they want to revamp it. Like even the obelisk.
What's your take on that?
Okay, with the obelisk, so the day that it was happening, I was in Virginia because my daughter lives out there. Well, she did live out there because my son-in-law was in the military. And I was watching, and I was trying to call people. I watched them tear it down. And the thing with that...
You were there?
No, I watched it on TV.
Okay.
I was on YouTube, and I was watching it. And then when I came back, I was telling Michael, and he was watching it too. And it was like, so now that I was running, I talked to the police officers, and one of them is a retired officer. And I said, you probably know what happened that day. I said, I watched it, and I was just appalled that no one, took any form of action. And he said they couldn't. They were told by the mayor is that leave them alone, don't touch them, whatever they do to you, just turn on, just don't even engage. But the thing too is like they spit on them, the police officers, they called them filthy names, and they had to endure that. when they said if I could have, I would have stopped them, but we were not supposed to. And I asked my friend, I said, well, isn't there any in the policy and procedures, is there anything in there that you can oversee the mayor? And he goes, yes, we could, but that was back then. He goes, I don't know of how it's changed. I said, so I told him I want to go into those policies and procedure manuals and start looking at them and making sure that's in there, because if you feel that the mayor's not doing their job and someone's going to get hurt, then you supersede and you say, stand down, we're taking over, and which sometimes has to happen.
So I guess kind of Monday morning quarterbacking, if you were the mayor at the time, what actions would you have taken? And then now that the obelisk, do you want to rebuild it? If so, in the same location, or does it need to be rebuilt? What would be your plan for that? Well,
I feel people need to understand what is the whole purpose of the obelisk, and that obelisk has a value to people that have grown up from generations back. And if you look at it, it represents the glory at a battle, and it represents like what happened there. That's what the monument means. And sure, there might have been some bad words on there. It's always, you can change stuff like that. There's no, but the thing is, why are we tearing down history? We're tearing down, what is that obelisk doing to you? Nothing. It's just telling you not to forget what happened in the past. And once we forget the past, poof, gone. And that's what one counselor told me. They had asked me, what would you do? I said, I'd rebuild it, and anybody touches it again, they're going to get in trouble, because that's property. That's like going to my house and destroying my property and going in my front yard and breaking something. That's the same philosophy.
So you would have told the police to protect
Yes.
the obelisk.
Yes, because if you look at the ones that caused that problem were the three sisters. And those three sisters come from back east. They're not from here. They came over here, and I don't know, they're gone now. I haven't heard from them at all. But when I watched them and I heard them and how they talked, I was appalled. These people that were out there to destroy. And that's not what I've been taught as a kid. You do not touch anybody's property. That's the biggest problem. We're not putting our foot down.
At the bottom of the obelisk was language that was offensive to Native Americans. And so how do you, in the midst of all this turmoil, how would you unite people in our community around these discussions concerning?
Well, the cool thing about myself is that I did my DNA, because I thought, okay, let's see who I am. And you know what? I'm not 50% of anything. I'm a third Indian, I'm a third white, I'm a third Spanish, and then I have black in me too. But the thing about it is that it's a word. Come on, really. So, haven't you ever been called a bad word or something, and you just blow it off? Well, that thing it had savages or something. That's easy to change. Let's just wipe it off, clean it off, or whatever we have to do, sandblast it, and put something beautiful. But you know what? We don't know why they put that there. Nobody knows, So the thing about it is that it's just history. And people say mean things to everybody. It's just a history. It's just a get rid of the word if it's a problem.
While we're on the subject of monuments, the statue for de Vargas, what's your take on that particular subject?
I'm going to bring that into the Sweeney Convention Center, because if you look at it, the Spaniards and the Native Americans were here, and the Spaniards came in, and we're all intertwined together, and you're like me, a Heinz 57. You know what? And let's put it where people can be proud of it and see it, and it's only a statue, and it symbolizes something that maybe people don't like what the Spaniards did, maybe they were mean, but the thing about it, that's the history, but it seems like we're reliving it again, because we're not getting along anymore. The Hispanics, the Native Americans, and it's not all, but it's just, there's just so much, I think after COVID, there's just so much animosity around everybody, and it's just like, I think we all count. We all count. It's about all of us getting along together, because back in the day, I never saw this. Did you?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about the economic development. You guys are small business owners. How would you diversify our economy here in Santa Fe to try to? A lot of families want their children to live in our community. They want job opportunities. They want to see the economy grow. What is your take as a small business owner to try to do economic development initiatives, and what specific initiatives would you like to work on?
Well, like with us, let's go with the small businesses right now, is that all that I learned when I was getting ourselves prepared and getting ready for government contracts is that what I'm seeing a lot of prime companies out there that are doing our landscaping, all that. Well, how come we're not using local people? Because we have a bunch of mom pa landscapers, and you see them, it's the wife and the husband, and is getting them geared to do city contracts. And that's so easy to do that I want to start bringing more of that into our city, because if we build it, they'll come. So that means using our resources that we have in our own city, because if we hire within, then we're keeping our money in our city, so it's thriving. So small businesses are very important, and I know that one portion up there at the Guadalupe, the green belt, I did research on that, and so they're going to put at least $11 million in that project. That road and all that, I think, was $1.3 million, something like that. And I do know it affected those people, because I live over there, because I bought my house 30 years ago, so I'm able to still live there. But I saw how long it took, and then they would stop, and then they would start. And you know what? It's a money issue. When you're not seeing any commotion, means that they didn't get paid, or the check hasn't arrived to their bank yet. So we got to make sure, if we're going to start a project, it has a time period. It starts today and it ends by tomorrow. And so you have a set time period. And then if they don't finish, they don't do it on time, then we penalize them. Because that's what a lot of these contractors do for the state for these big contracts. And my dad was a project engineer, so I learned a lot of stuff from him. Even like when they were doing when they're doing the Guadalupe, is like they were going to put roundabouts. Logically, it's impossible. So they restructured and put the lights back up. And the thing is that it's beautiful, but it's not for us. It's for the tourists. But that's okay, because we need them.
We want to ask you a little bit about city services and parks.
Yes.
What's your vision for maintenance of our parks? Maybe even looking at are you looking at new parks? What do you?
Well,
what's your thoughts on parks and recreation?
Let's first take care of
what does your admin want to do?
Well, we're going to upgrade those parks. We're going to over there on the south side by what's that street? There's a park. Yeah, is that they still have the metal equipment there, and it looks so bad. Is that, we should be proud of our parks where they're at in those different locations, because that's what makes a community thrive, and the thing too is I like to do some community gardenings in some of these parks to get people to come out and start thinking about, gardening food and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, even like the landscaping, like where there's the weeds, putting xeriscape. I mean, there's so many different ideas. But on top of that, I'd like to make a program. I'd like to bring back like Parks and Recreation with a recreation portion, is that reopening the centers that we closed, like the Monica Roybal, the Alto, is that, parents need a place to take their kids after school programs, because back in the day, my parents utilized them. We were there till like when they got out of work and picked us up, and they would stay open till like 8 o'clock at night, because Mrs. Casados, remember Mrs. Casados? she ran Monica Roybal Center. So, and then also doing internships with our high school students to bring them in after school programs to help, work for us. After school program would be ideal for a lot of these kids.
We're going to come back in just a moment. We're visiting with Letitia Montoya. I want to give you an opportunity to, when we come back, you're going to make your pitch. Every candidate's given that opportunity to say why they're the best leader for our city. We want to give you that opportunity. Also have an opportunity to have some water. I know we've been talking for a while, but we'll be back with more right here on KSWV Radio. KSWV Radio, and we're back with Letitia Montoya, candidate for mayor of Santa Fe. And as we have with every candidate, I'd like to extend the courtesy of inviting you to the pitch, to get on that pitcher's mound and to state why you're the best candidate for mayor and what you want to do for our town.
Okay. Now?
Yep.
Okay, everybody. I just didn't wake up yesterday. I've been doing this for the last 4 years to understand what's going on in our city. And the things that are going on, I'm very concerned, and I have a fear because we're not taking care of the issues that are affecting everyday life, from basic services. Our roads, I'm telling you, the roads are bad. They need to fix those potholes, but let's don't patch, let's fix them. We need help with our lights. Have you noticed that they switched the lights on us, and so they're not synchronized? I mean, shelters is an issue, housing, rent control, water problems. Even with the water, even with our water that we're getting now, we need to contain that water because we don't know what the future has in store. Park and recreation. Permits, codes. The permits that we get for the housing and to remodel and to all the good stuff that happens along the path. But the thing about it is that all that I've seen in the last 4 years is not that it's not good, but we can fix it. We could still fix it. But like I tell everybody, if I had not been doing this for 4 years, I wouldn't be running for mayor because I wouldn't know the issues or the problems and I wouldn't know how to solve them. But I'm going to tell you, for everything that I talked to you about today, I have a plan that I've already built in place, ready to go day one. And, and it's going to take all of us. We need to be proud of our city. We need to be proud of our city government. And we need to start being inclusive and bringing people back in to want to work in our city government. And also, how am I going to come to that point is that I'm going to ask the baby boomers, and I've been asking them that have worked in those divisions, that they would come back to help to reorganize it, and so that they teach the younger people, and then we hire within. Why are we going outside of our state to bring in people to work for us? We have the people right here in front of us. We were talking about how do we keep our kids here, is that we got to bring our standards of even the pay raises up. Get rid of the top heavy people. Why do we have people getting $280,000? Seriously, we could utilize that money. And why do we have to open up more positions? Like, did you see that the city manager wants an assistant? Excuse me, you make $280,000. I don't think you want, unless you want to half of your pay and give it to your assistant, that'll work with me. But you know what? Top heavy has to go. We got to shift that money to the bottom and make it to where we give people living salaries where they can survive, and that we keep up with the time influence, and also, like, there's just so many things that we can do. But the only way I'm going to do it is if I get elected as mayor. And I tell everybody, do ranked choice voting for everybody, because that ranked choice voting is very important. Because if you like me, but you're going to vote for someone else, then you can rank me second, third, or fourth. But that's the whole process about ranked choice voting. You pick the people you like, because the possibility of them getting elected will be because of you. So everybody, just remember, ranked choice voting, very important. And you know what? Like I say, is I'm here for everybody here in Santa Fe. I have the qualifications. I have my degrees. I worked for the city when I was a lifeguard, and that's another issue. Is like, we need to start involving our youth to be a part of our city, and starting those programs, what they did for me. Ruben Lovato, he helped me become a lifeguard. So they give you the training, they pay for it, and then you go and work for them. And that's just the stepping stone, because it leads into other things that you can do with the city. And it's about taking care of the people of our city, the people that work for us, and let them live here. So we need affordable housing, we need rent control, and let's unite and let's build an army and a force to go out there, because I don't need to do a survey. I know what's going on. I'm a workhorse with my boots on the ground, and I'm ready to work on day one, and that's a fact.
Letitia, if somebody is listening and they want to get involved with your campaign, where can they go to? What's the best way to contact you guys?
There's three options. So you can call me, 505-644-2227. You can email me, Letitia at letitiaforsantafe.com and visit my website, letitiaforsantafe.com. And I hope you like the website because I'm one of the developers. Everything you see on there comes from me. It's because I care. And just or you see me out and about, shout out and say, Letitia, I'm here for you. So anything you need, please give me a call. And if you want to get involved, that's the only way I'm going to win. And I let everybody know that I need you.
Well, Letitia Montoya, thank you so much for sharing your vision for the city of Santa Fe, for what you want to do in your administration, for taking the time out of your schedule to come visit with our listeners. And thank you.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the one thing I tell everybody is God led me to this journey. And so I'm here for everybody. And I thank you for allowing me to come today and speak to you. Hi, everybody. This is Letitia Montoya, and I hope you liked my interview that I had with Que Suave Radio. And if you did, I have the actual code there where you can scan it with your phone, or you can actually type it in, letitiaforsantafe.com, and I have a direct link that'll take you to the city clerk's office so you could sign my petition to help me get one step closer to becoming the next mayor of Santa Fe. And I ask for your vote, and I ask for your support. And if you need to get a hold of me, you are more than welcome to give me a call, 505-644-2227. I thank you. Have a wonderful day. Paid for by the committee to elect Letitia Montoya for mayor and Mary Herrera treasurer.